So at the brand new AMR performance head to the Nürburgring, literally a stone's throw away over there to the main racetrack, and we're with this very beautiful Aston Martin AMR DB11 V12. Now this is replacing the existing DB11 V12 car, and I think the thing that I noticed first, more than anything, is there's no chrome. There's no chrome anywhere on the car anymore. Chrome seems to be really outdated these days. Other than the badge and the key, I can't see any chrome on the whole car. I think the proportions are absolutely perfect on this car, and Aston Martin really are making some of the most beautiful looking cars out there at the moment. But enough about the looks of the car. We know it looks beautiful. We want to hear how it sounds, and we want to see how it performs as well. So without further ado, we're going to hit the road. Wow, these roads are fantastic, and the new DB11 AMR is pretty good, I have to say. First impression is very good. Dr. Andy Palmer said the car's faster, more precise than the outgoing DB11 V12. And I have to say, I kind of agree with him. Well, technically, on paper it is. For sure, 0 to 60 now in 3.5 seconds, top speed of 208 miles an hour, and the power's been increased to 630 horsepower. So all around faster, it sounds faster. Now, subconsciously, when you hear a very nice sounding revving V12, such as this, it makes it feel faster. It does, it makes a car feel faster. And this definitely sounds faster. Is it more precise? Well, first impressions, it feels very, very sporty. I'm in Sport Plus mode. I've been in the car for a few days, so I want to really have a lot of fun with it. It's a GT car. It's in the same bracket as the Mercedes S65 AMG Coupe and the Bentley Continental GT as well. So it's a GT car, but this feels a lot sportier. The V8 DB11, if you haven't seen that video, you can click somewhere on the screen now to watch that. The noise, wow, there were some pops and crackles and a bit of theatre, a little bit of drama. This car, the DB11 AMR, has that theatre of the V8. It's got 127 horsepower more than the V8 car, so you can imagine there's a bit more power, and yet it still feels very light and agile like you're driving the V8, so that's a huge improvement over the outgoing DB11. And Aston Martin, they make some of the most beautiful cars ever. The Vanquish S, the new Vantage, and this car, the DB11, I think is sensationally beautiful. A really, really gorgeous car, synonymous with Aston Martin in current times. And another thing that is synonymous with Aston Martin, no question, is this. And to get a noise like this from a twin-turbo V12 is pretty special. The interior, not a great deal of change. You got some exposed carbon, which I think looks great in any car, suits this car very much. You've got these haptic feedback switches, which I've never been a big fan. For me, I actually think it's safer having the old buttons, because you know where the button is, you press the button or you click the button and you don't even have to look. But the haptic buttons, you sort of have to feel where they are. And I know it's technology and its advancements and it's moving forward, but I am old school and I do prefer the old style buttons. Speaking of old school, that's reminded me of our old mate Tiff, who wouldn't like this steering wheel because it's very cool, very modern, very trendy, and it's cut off at the bottom, but I like it. You've got the Alcantara bits either side, you've got Alcantara on the inserts on the seats, you've got the lime green stripe on the roof and on the seats as well, and together with the lime green brake calipers, how you can identify this is one of the new AMR cars. But if you don't like all this lime green everywhere, it doesn't matter, you can spec the car how you want. If you wanted to have it all black or bright white, you could. So don't feel that if you just want a very classy, understated GT car, that you have to have these bright colours as well. Before I do one more mile, I'm just going to address a couple of things. First and foremost, the boot. Now, everybody says the boot's too small on this car, but when you go away, you want to put a big suitcase in and a couple of soft bags, which you can do easily with this boot. And for me, personally, to give up a tiny bit of boot space and compromise with these incredible good looks is a no-brainer. So forget that. Boot space, no problem whatsoever. However, there are a couple of little niggles that I have. One, the radio. When you get back in the car, the radio's off, you get back in the car, and the radio turns on its own. What What's all that about? Allow me to demonstrate. What? Why? Why does that radio come on? I don't understand. So that's niggle number one. You have to turn the radio down. Niggle number two, the sat nav. You cannot operate the sat nav manually when you're driving along. You have to be stationary to operate the sat nav. So even if you have a passenger, the passenger is not allowed to manually put in the address. You have to use the voice prompts. So that's a bit of a niggle for me. But the biggest niggle, I'm ready to go. I've got my seatbelt on. I'm all hunky-dory. And all I want to do is put it in drive and drive off. Surely you should be able to just click it into gear, engage gear, and drive off. But no, with Aston Martin, you actually have to press the drive button to engage the gear. That doesn't seem right. You can put it in neutral, like lots of other cars, when you were just using the paddles, but you have to physically press the button. Now, it doesn't sound too bad, but living with that on an everyday basis, I think that's something that I would really like to have changed. But let's be fair, you can pick holes in absolutely anything. I'm not picking holes, they're just little niggles for me, and none of it really detracts from the whole package of what this car's all about. But I wanted to get it off my chest before I go further, but now we can go further. I can't click that, but I can click that, and we're gonna go. Sadly, the weather took a bit of a turn for the worse, but we were in a pretty superb GT car, so we headed to the Autobahn to see if we can stretch its legs. So it's all well and good driving on the country roads, but we're in Germany. And of course the German Autobahns are famous for being rather fast with no speed limits, which is a bit of a urban myth because there's quite a few speed limits. We're coming out of one now, but we're going to drop it down a few gears and... Woo! That sound is absolutely magical. You can't get bored of that. That's amazing. You really could smash across a continent in this car. And it's so easy. You can talk to your friends or your companions. Not that I have any, but you could if you had some. But you've also got that amazing sounding V12 if you want it. The car is phenomenal on the motorway. It's a real pleasure. It's starting to rain a little bit heavier now, but still it's very solid and we're doing sensible speeds. I don't know whether I want to do a huge distance in the back. I think the back seats really, it is a 2+2. The back seats really are for smaller children or for shorter people. I can say that because I'm not the tallest person in the world. But I don't think you'd want to do a huge distance in the back. But you've got the option of having 2 seats, so it's at least it's there if you want it. And I can see some sunshine in the distance, so I'm hoping we can have a little bit of fun. It's not all about the final destination, it's often about how you get there. And getting there in this car, I have to say, was a lot of fun. Whether it's on the motorway, whether it's on the country roads, or on the big B roads, this thing never ever missed a beat. It's such a well-balanced car now. It just feels that little bit tighter, a little bit more agile, and just a bit more precise in everything that it does. And the looks, man, honestly, this car, I think, looks beautiful. And every time we came out of a cafe or a restaurant for lunch or dinner, there was always a little crowd of people around the car admiring the car. You wouldn't get that with the Bentley, you wouldn't get that with the S65 AMG Coupe, but you definitely get it with this car. And I think it's a real testament to Aston Martin. Just looks absolutely stunning. I think like any car, this car definitely has its niggles, but there isn't anything that I wouldn't be able to put up with to be able to drive this on an everyday basis. And I think if you are looking for a GT with sports car looks and performance, there's no better car to have than this. It's a very special GT car indeed. And if you have watched to the end of this video, congratulations and thank you very much. There's some other Aston Martin videos that you may like. We've done plenty of V12s and we also did the V8 version of this as well with Tiff Nadell. So that's quite an interesting view to see how they all stack up. And don't forget to like, share, comment, all those wonderful, lovely things as well that will help us to get a few more followers. Thank you very much.